The world is full of languages, written and spoken. But how many of those languages does the average person read and or speak? 1, 2, 3? Wouldn't it be great if we had some way to help us easily translate between languages, whether they were written or spoken? Wouldn't it be great to have a way to communicate back and forth in different languages in real time? A way that was portable, and a way that also allowed us to capture notes and highlights from books? Well, there is such a way. This pen can help. Not only with text and phonic translation so that you can be understood, but also with something else that I think is going to become one of the most valuable tools in my personal research and study workflow. In fact, it's something that I think many people don't consider when they look at a scanning pen, and I'm glad and excited to be able to share that special feature with you shortly. You're going to love it. But first, what exactly is this pen, and what are some of the things it can do, and some of the things that we would expect from a translating pen? Well, this is the NEWYES Scan Reader pen. It's a pen that does several interesting things, and things that can really help us when it comes to language and note-taking. It can take text from one language that's printed on a page or a book, and it can translate it into a different language, also reading it out aloud in both languages. It can also read text to you, which is especially helpful for those that might need help with reading or looking up words in a dictionary, also included. It can also listen as you speak, translate what you've said into text and read it out, and then translate back in the other direction, allowing you to have a conversation with somebody that's speaking a different language than you. It can do fun things like play MP3s, it can take voice memos, it has a dictionary, and of course it has that special feature that I mentioned that's going to make a big difference in my workflow, and that I'm really excited to share with you at the end of the video here. But let's take a look at some of the main features right now. I can't read French. Even though I'm Canadian and I should be able to, I'm still learning a lot of words in French and I struggle with it. I can read a little bit of German because my family is German, but I still struggle with certain sentences of words. I definitely can't read Japanese. I definitely can't read Chinese. I can't read or speak many of the hundreds of languages in the world. Even though I can't read these languages, the scanner pen can translate them as well as 112 different languages in total. The scanner pen will allow me to have a conversation with someone that speaks another language. I tested this with some students that speak Mandarin and with some students that speak Hindi. The Chinese speakers were very impressed, and so were my Hindi-speaking students, although they did say it was a bit more of a formal dialect than the one that they're used to, but the point was that they could understand the different languages that it was translated into. I'll try speaking some German into it myself, and for any of my German subscribers or viewers, please forgive me in advance because my German's a little bit rusty. But if you're enjoying the video so far, hit the like button, and it helps a lot, and I'm very grateful for it. Let's see if I can speak German into this pen and how it translates it. Hello, that's an interesting pen. Are you going to use it so that you can translate different languages? Let's see how it does.
Das ist ein interessanter Pen. Werden Sie es verwenden, damit Sie verschiedene Sprachen übersetzen können?
Ja, das ist genau, was ich will mit der Stift machen.
That's exactly what I want to do with the pen.
Wow, not bad. So that translation of the conversation I just had with myself is just one of the things I can do with the pen, and it's pretty amazing. You can use this for things like language acquisition, for looking up different words that you might not understand, and for all sorts of different ways of learning and teaching. Here's a book that I have in German. I'm not going to scan an entire book using the pen, but let's say I'm fairly good at reading German, but there's some words I don't understand. I'll do an entire sentence here. What I'm going to do is go into the pen, I'm going to go into a text conversion, I'm going to go into the settings, and I'm going to choose the language of choice. So in my case, I'll scroll down a little bit here, and this is German. So I'm going from German, and I want to go to Canadian English. That sounds good to me. And now what I'll be able to do is go in, and I'll scan the sentences or the words that I'm having problems reading. And we'll just go and do a few here. It's going to then go in, it's going to recognize that. So it does that in German, it reads it back to me. I can then click on translation.
Yulin only breathed a sigh of relief when Velas and the last memory of the lake had disappeared. Behind wide rock plains.
So you can see there it did a great job of recognizing the German text and then translating that into English. The pen is also capable of translating more complex languages like Chinese or Arabic, or in this case, Japanese. So I'm going to go in and open to a random page here. This is a Harry Potter book that I got from the library. I'm going to go into the text translation. I'm going to go into the settings. Now again here, my source is going to be Japanese. So I'll find Japanese. I want to transfer that to Canadian English. Now in this case here, I'm going to go vertical. So I'm going to scan, and I'll just start here, and we'll scan some text vertically. It'll recognize the language, and then I'll go into translation.
Bagman keeps his voice low. I feel sorry for everything. You were dragged into this game.
Isn't that perfect? Absolutely fantastic if there's some words that I don't understand. Again, it would be if I was learning Japanese and I was reading and I just had certain words that I didn't understand, then I could use the pen to read a sentence back to me. You wouldn't want to read the entire book that way, but you can definitely pick up on different translations. What a great tool for helping you learn. The pen also has a fantastic feature for anybody who's struggling with reading, maybe if someone has dyslexia or they have reading challenges, and that's the text reader. The text reader will allow the pen to scan and then read a sentence or a word out loud. I can change the speed at which it reads. I can go in and I can save it. I'll have a look at this. So let's go ahead and we'll scan this sentence and have the pen read it out to me. So now I can follow along.
Transform. The learning experience.
I can go ahead and index that and then save it. And now I'll have the words here.
Transform. The learning experience.
So you can see that I'm really in a great position to use this as a learning tool, especially if I'm having challenges. And in fact, if you check in the description below, you can get a discount on the pen as well. I forgot to mention that. That's a handy thing if you need to get this pen. So if we go into the dictionary, we also have a dictionary with the pen, a Collins English Dictionary or a Chinese English Dictionary. I'll choose the Collins English Dictionary. And then what I can do here is, let's say I want to scan a word. So I'll just choose, I can actually grab an entire sentence, but it'll put the entire sentence that I scanned here.
Transform.
And then I can choose individual words.
Experience. Learning.
So I can choose each of the words, and then it gives me an entire definition of what it is that I have here. And once again, I can go to the top.
Learning.
And there we go. So you also get a nice dictionary in there, and you can favorite that as well. It's a great pen that has all of these features. Let's take a look at that one feature that I wanted to talk about where I'm going to be using this on a regular basis. It's called text excerpts, and it allows me to highlight books and convert those notes into digital notes as part of my note-taking system. That feature is the ability to take a book. Maybe it's a book that I own, maybe it's a library book, especially if it's a library book, and I'm able to take the pen and use it to take digital highlights. Traditionally, what I would do with a book is if there was a section in here that I was interested in taking a note on, I would highlight it. I would then have to put it into an external note system, either type it into a computer when I could, or I would have to write it on a piece of paper, whatever the case may be. If it was a library book, I certainly wouldn't be able to highlight inside the book. The point, though, is that with the pen, what I'm going to be able to do is take a text excerpt. And then what I can do is click the plus button here, and now anything that I scan with the pen will be put into a digital text note. This means that I can now use all of these notes in order to keep track of different ideas that I had encountered in the book that I want to revisit. So I can go in and I can take different notes here. Notice that those notes do not have to be contiguous. They could be different parts here. Everything gets captured in the pen here. And now I can transfer that note to my digital note-taking system using a USB cable. Now, of course, I could scan the entire book and make it a digital book, but if I just want to take notes of certain passages or certain highlights and such, this pen is going to allow me to do that. And for that reason, this becomes one of my most valuable tools that I can use as a digital note-taking tool, as a digital highlighter. I can capture information that I need when I'm studying and doing research. That feature alone makes this pen valuable to me, and that's one of the reasons why I would get a pen like this, and I will always have this pen with me. This is an absolute game changer for the way I read physical books. From now on, I'll have this pen with me at all times because I've always struggled with note-taking from printed books and then getting those notes into a digital format. Of course, I won't scan entire books this way, but this pen is perfect if I wanted to just scan certain passages and take highlights as I read the book. This pen will allow me to do that. And any text that I scan is saved to the pen, and then I can transfer it to my computer and into my digital note-taking system through the USB cable, which is far more intuitive and less friction than having a series of phone apps that I click on there. Highlighting is just a really great, easy activity to do. I'll link below in the description to where you can find out more information on the availability and the pricing of these pens, but please comment with any questions that you might have, or if you'd like to see me work with any specific aspect of the pen in more depth or more detail. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.